political capital of Nigeria. I am Godwin Sunday. There are a lot of issues that need urgent attention, and one of those issues right now is the basic necessity of life, and that is housing in Nigeria, and especially within the Federal Capital Territory. Now, the hike at which the price house rent in Abuja, if you like to use that word, is going, it's become like a freelance rise in Abuja. The various sectors in Abuja, from Nyanya through to Wakolada, through to Kwali, and back to Kubwa, it's on a free rise. And we want to know what are some of the reasons behind all of this hike in rent, and the cost of ownership of property also is not even looking friendly. It's a weekend edition of Signature and more than a year in the Federal Capital Territory, and I'm being joined in this conversation by Engineer Yunusa. Engineer Yunusa is a professional when you count 1 to 10 in Abuja when it has to do with the real estate sector. And of course, his name will be part of the 10 top listed names in Abuja. Let me welcome my guest this morning. Engineer Yunusa, you're welcome to Signature Morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so let's get into the conversation right now. You've heard from my opening how the cost of houses is rising in Abuja. Ownership of property is almost becoming an impossible mission. But give us an overview. Why do we have this at this point in time in Abuja?
Okay, thank you once more for having me, and thank you for coming up with this interesting topic that directly affect the industry at which we operate. The rising cost of house ownership in Abuja can first of all directly trace to high rate of migration into the Federal Capital Territory. We all have this while growing up. Where if you are conversant with Nollywood, somebody will be in the village, then the uncle will come from the city, probably Lagos or Abuja. Then at the end of the movie, you will see that the person become a big man. So this has a psychological effect in everybody, and believes that Abuja is the area to go. And when the population is high, the demand for housing, which is one of our primary need of survival, will also be high. So since the demand is high and the supply is not matching up to the demand, so the cost will go up. So like now, currently, like recently, about last week ago, the fuel pump price was increased. So why? Before then, you see queue everywhere, meaning the supply is lower than the demand. And unfortunately, what happened? You see the price went up. So it's the same thing in housing. So number one reason why it is going up is the high rate of migration towards the urban cities.
All right, thank you for that quick one. But then we have a lot of housing regulators in Abuja. As a matter of fact, Abuja happens to be like the seat of housing regulators in Nigeria. Are we saying that they're not doing enough when it has to do with regulating the prices of houses in the Federal Capital Territory?
Okay, we can't say they are not doing enough. In housing, I think let me use this opportunity, if I have the time, to go deep into the pricing of housing. To acquire a house or property, as we popularly called it, depend on several factors, especially in FCT here. In FCT, number one of the factors that will affect that is location. You see, FCT was designed in such a way that the government activities are concentrated in one area. Then the need for people to live close to where things are happening, that is where our seat of power is high. Then people closer to these areas will pay more. That's location. Then someone that is living far, let's say satellite areas like Buhari, let's say Gwagwalada, for example, their cost will be lesser than those that are closer to this area. So the regulatory bodies, they are doing their best, but as we said, they are also being overwhelmed. And there are these factors that I am making mention of are natural factors. The location influence the pricing. Like now, here in Maitama, the pricing of housing here is not comparable to the price of housing in places like Buhari. Let me even say like Kubwa. Or if we want to even be fair, places like Jahi, Maitama is more expensive. So location plays a very high role, and there's nothing anybody can do, even a regulatory body, because as I said, the seat of power is closer. Everybody wants to be closer, meaning the people that want it are very high than even the available property to serve them. And you know, this is sorry to say, it's a business for us and for other people also. So when the demand is high, is who can pay will get it. Then secondly, in the pricing too, where I want to talk more of the regulatory bodies, is issue of the components that made up the housing. You know, housing major components we have there is cement and reinforcement, which is iron rods. So the pricing of these materials is going up all the time. And if I would tell you confidently, from December 2023 till date, we have experienced 145% increment in major housing material prices. So this will affect the price definitely, and it will push the cost high. So these are the factors, and the regulatory bodies need to come in, especially in the areas of pricing regulation, because as I said, I talk about the factor of demand and supply. Then regulation need to come in so that these factors will not move all of us out of a station.
All right, so Engineer Yunusa, many people will say at this point in time that the government is not doing enough in terms of regulation. But then you made mention of a particular pressing issue, which is the prices of commodity. But then again, some houses were built about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and the landlords are just increasing the price of the rent of these houses. Can this be likened to the shared wickedness on the part of the landlords?
Okay, thank you very much again for this question. It's not, I can't say it is a wickedness. No.
If you buy the property, if you buy the property 10 years ago, you bought cement 20 years ago. The property, you're not buying new cement to fix the house.
20 years ago.
Okay.
Let me talk to you now at the point of an investor. Yes, someone that owns a house that gives it out for investment purposes. So I'm going to give illustration, and I hope that will suffice. We were all here that somewhere around last year, the price of electricity was increased. So if you bought property 20 years ago in your house, are you not buying electricity? You are buying. Then price of premium, that is petrol, went up too. Let's talk of food items too. These people, investors, the landlord as we call them, most of them acquire this property as a retirement plan. Like as we know, as we are all working now, most of us have a lot of our retirement plan, and most investors make investment as part of their own retirement plan. So if the economic factor, external factors is eating deep into them, so the source of livelihood they have, they will also react in that source of livelihood, which is the property they have. So where government need to come in is this. There are policies that are directly affecting this landlord, that makes the landlord to react in increasing his or her property. Then if government can come in, yes, they all know it's out there that most of these policies are harsh and it's affecting businesses and individuals. So in order to take or share the pain of the citizens that are also victim of the landlord increment, provide some housing incentives for people. Nothing is bad. Like, you know that as far as this Abuja is concerned, government is an estate that if you go there, even if you are a student, you can rent them at an affordable price, even if it is a hostel estate model. You know what I mean by estate model? So as a single person, what you just need is a bed space. Government owns this thing. I will go there. I can have what you need is shelter. I will have this shelter. Then this will be fair. But in a situation where these interventions are not there, the economy is eating deep on even you as a landlord. So your reaction will come to increase your source of livelihood. That is one. Then secondly, cost of maintenance. I made mention of power the other time. There are all these houses they built 20 years ago. If you leave it like that, it will not be habitable. Nobody can stay there. Even this cinema here, if this structure is not being maintained, I will not even be safe to sit here. So the cost of maintenance too is there, eating deep on whatever maybe profit of the landlord. So for the landlord to keep the house fit for the tenants to be able to stay inside, so they have to also increase their pricing. So we can't say they are wicked, because there are factors that push up this prices.
I thought for once that building a house and giving out for rent would be like more of a humanitarian gesture. So it's not. It's strictly business.
Okay, let me speak to that. Okay. Yes, there are people. I think there are up to 3 people I know in this Abuja here that apply humanity to their own investment. They are well-doing people. The passion at which they start this with is that they saw that there is a housing deficit. People are in need of this thing. They have this property. Then they set a benchmark, irrespective of any factor. They said this is the amount we are going to collect. So people approach this with different mindset. The mindset at which you used to acquire property and the mindset at which I used to acquire property might be different. So such kind of investors, as I said, I know up to 3 of them. So they are not actually renting out based on the market value, because all the houses too also have their own market value. So they are using it as part of their own contributing back to the society. So they are there also. So, but the problem now lies in identifying them and knowing where their property are, and also most importantly, even if you know, the availability, because it will attract more demand than the ones that are on the high side. That's area of rentage.
Yeah, that's very correct, Engineer Unisa. But then again, let's talk about the timing for some of these house rents. I know you form part of the board of regulators in Abuja when it has to do with real estate concerns. But then, looking at the timing at which landlords increase their rents on a freelance basis, you have cases where landlords increase on a monthly basis. Some even nearly want to start doing almost at the weekly basis. But then, are there frameworks being put in place to ensure that there are modalities and structures for landlords to follow through in the increment of rent in the Federal Capital Territory?
Without covering some aspects of truth, I would say no. The housing market is more or less like an open market in Nigeria. We have a real estate association of Nigeria here in Nigeria here. That is REDAN, Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria. That is REDAN. So they supposed to regulate real estate from development to even rentage. But we all know the business is too open. Take for instance, in your own house, you have a BQ that you want to rent there. Who even know that you have it before it will even be regulated? So, and in this part of the country, a lot of people are also not speaking out. So once I'm satisfied, that is all. So if all the tenants can come together to have a voice, the regulation can work. Then, because it's an open market, there is no common understanding even among the tenants. There's no common understanding among the there's no landlord association in Abuja here. So if I have a house today, I put my price how much I want to rent it. So nobody said because I want to join rented business, this is the amount I'm supposed to fix. Even Keke Napep people have their own union for carpenters, and they have, but there's no union of landlord here in Abuja. So it's an open market, and because it's an open market, it's also give room for corruption. Because one of the things that is prevalent now, especially in FCT here, is that the brokers, the agents that are helping people in facilitating this tenancy, sometimes they are even the one that will tell the landlord, in this location, this is what some people are renting their houses, increase your house this way. But in developed country, you are not a broker until you are licensed, you are registered. But there's nothing like that here. Today now, if you want to be a real estate broker in here, you will be. There is actually a profession that's supposed to be doing that part of the business. But everything, as I say, it's an open market. Everything has been bastardized. So the barrier to entry is so open that today you can give it a try. Just have a picture of a house, put it on your status, house for rent. People will start calling you. Nobody will ask you, are you registered? Where is your office? So all these things give room for incessant increment, because like now another thing that is happening is that you can rent a house. The landlord want to increase the house rent. He might be having some that have this conscience. This person just parking 1 year ago. If I want to increase, there may be resistance. What they will do, tell you, I want to renovate my house.
That's the normal English.
So I want to renovate
that's the normal. So it's a registrar for property owners in Abuja.
It's for quit you out. So now, if a landlord says that I want to renovate my house, is it your house? Will you say the landlord should not renovate it?
No.
So when he kick you out, he will bring in a new person that will pay higher. Then the person stay, you kick the person out. So this is open, and as I said earlier, the government is trying in their own end, but once the problem is too big, even efforts that are being made will not be noticed. But I believe that more regulations will keep in place, especially RIDAN. The RIDAN are coming up with a lot of policies. I hope it will have the backup of the government in order to be able to be enforceable. So I think by that time, most of these issues will be addressed.
All right, so if you're just joining us, this is still Signature Morning, and what Engineer Unisa is trying to call a broker is actually an agent. So that's the local parlance. So you understand the real estate parlance for them is a broker. For we that paid agent, we know what they call agents on the street. But then let's talk again about the issues of demolitions in Abuja, and it's affecting people from owning properties. Before we get to the issue of fraud, even in your sector. Now, in Gwagwalada just 2 weeks ago, houses were demolished. And the same thing is almost happening in Kuje, and also just at Nikon bus stop here, the estate just beside it, and most people are losing their houses, hard-earned money, and they are now returning back from owning properties to becoming tenants. So I want to ask again, are there also policies, insurable policies within the real estate sector to guarantee tenants for a period of time, or owners of property for a period of time, that they will enjoy some certain benefits, and even if the government demolishes, they will still enjoy certain level of privileges? This is your sector, so please enlighten us on this.
Yes, there is an insurable measure. Okay, an issue of house demolition is a delicate one because it's an emotional thing. So, and it's also very controversial too. So I'll refer you back to the entry of this the present minister of FCT when he came in. He, after studying the master plan of FCT development, you see he was lamenting, we are going to bring down people's houses, because he found out that the master plan has been distorted. That is on one side. Then having this, that this is FCT, Federal Capital Territory of the whole nation, it has its own blueprint. The house types, the sizes, what happens in every locations and the likes. So the prevalent practices is that most part of the FCT, the original master plans are being adhered to. So while either officially or non-officially, some part of the master plan has been distorted, then in the area of maybe Gwagwalada or some part of satellite communities around FCT that are being demolished, the insurable measures I said yes to is this: how you got there matters. How you got there. If you build your house, in fact, like 50 years ago, you have all the necessary documentation, that is enough insurance. If anybody demolish it, they will pay you. They will pay it. Then the process of payment is that a valuation will be done on the property before they demolished. Most of these government activities you see follows some processes that, because we are not there, you will not have knowledge about them. Before any house is being demolished, proper houses, they will do valuation of the property that is there by a registered valuer. Then the government will pay the compensation for you. Then you use that compensation to acquire either land or or property in another location. The most thing that happen is that most occupants, maybe either they bought the land through maybe a third party that they don't even know that the third party is not even the owner of the land. Then to the government now, when they come and show me your paper, you don't have, already you are an illegal occupant, so they have to push you away, and in such cases they will not give you anything. There is one community that was packed early last year. What is it called? Is it Gishiri?
Gishiri,
Yeah,
that's an icon.
So if you still go to that place today, you'll still be seeing some houses. Go today. Immediately after this conversation, you can go. You will see some of those old houses are still standing there. Then there was the day I passed and I happened to ask one community person. He said these are the people that have paper. You understand? If you saw, most of the houses were demolished, but some are still standing because they actually bought those land in which their houses were standing. So because in the next 50 years, these houses we are all celebrating today, what we call luxury house today, will be outdated, and more demolitions will still come. Yes, if you go to Use 2 now, you see almost all Use 2, they are almost demolished. It's not even government that is demolishing it. It's the people that own the houses that are demolishing them. Most places in Metama, the houses you see there are not the houses that are there before.
True.
Because they are outdated. They are not meeting with the standard of that location. In the next 50 years, so as far as this place still remain the Federal Capital Territory, we will still demolish again because the houses will be outdated. Then what everybody need to do is that you need to have necessary documentation for any property you are acquiring or you are going into. Once they said, don't have any fear, this land has been for our forefather, great-grandfather, that doesn't speak in any court of law or any legal committee. What will stand, what will speak for you are recognized documents for ownership, and if you don't have them, that means you are not the owner of the property, you are an illegal occupant. And when the real owner come, either you miss peacefully or they will force you out. That is why you see whenever the government wants to come for demolition, you will see a joint task force so that if you want to give them any resistance, they can force you out of it. So if your property have, in conclusion, if the property have a proper documentation when you acquire them, the government will pay you back. And if you go back to the history of how FCT was acquired by the indigenes we met, government met in the FCT. So most settlements were built for them. Yes, they were built. Most settlements were built for them to show that when government take from you, they will give you back. So it's documentation. If anyone that they are kicked out of their houses without any form of relief, I believe they might have documentation issues.
Interesting. So let's look at the issue of the agents themselves. Now, it is believed in Abuja that we have more illegitimate agents than the legitimate ones. Now, because of the issue of fraud in the housing sector, a lot of persons have been defrauded. I can say that for free. That even reports that we have and our research that we've done, there are quite a lot of people that have been victims of fraudulent housing frauds in Abuja, estates, real estate frauds. And how can one be able to safeguard his property and ensure that he did not enter into any form of fraudulent activities at this time, especially in the hands of housing agents?
Okay, thank you. Issue of corruption or illegal practices in the housing sector is something that is very high and is increasing every day. So one of the things that I believe is causing it is that, most of us would like to take corners, especially I'm talking of even from the people that are buying houses or buying properties. So cutting corners in such a way that you want to buy something of 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, but you don't want to pay maybe a lawyer 100,000, 200,000. You don't want to go to a registered real estate firm, real estate brokerage firm, for them to help you in acquisition process. Then you are already, you don't have the adequate knowledge of what you want to buy, and you are exposing yourself. It's just like me. I want to fight a warrior. You look at my body. Will I be able to? I don't have the training of how to fight.
You might have a heart of fighting.
I may
have the heart of fighting.
I may have the heart to fight, but I don't have the knowledge and the skills.
Okay.
So what will happen? The warrior will just say, see this Selenge, just turn me around and finish me. So for me to fight you, that means I need to go and look for another warrior that will be able to challenge you. That is that process, cutting processes are what is making a lot of people being victims of all these fraudulent agents and the like. We still have some agents that are diligent in their activities, but what makes you cutting corners, like now, if you want to buy property, advisably, the first person you have to meet is, number one, you contact a property lawyer. We have property lawyer. We have lawyers that their specialization is on properties. They know the documentation a company that you are buying houses from need to have. You understand? Before the property you are buying will be legit. But by the time you are buying property, you go by yourself. The person you are buying property from will be the one to sell for you, will be the one to give you lawyer. Then who is standing for you? So how will you be sure 100% that what this person is giving you is actually what it is? Then the corruption part of the agents is this. Number one, you can end up paying for something that is not available. You may end up buying for something that is not legal, because there are documentations a house must have before it is a legal property, a legal estate that you can go in and buy. And if you buy in an estate, this whole estate has its own documentation. You buy, you own a unit. Then after buying, there is a documentation you will have for that unit to be your own. Then you don't know how. Why will you be facing a warrior when you know you are not armed, you are not equipped. So these are what gives room for all these fraudulent practices. Then on the side of agents themselves, mostly I've talked about how you can be defrauded. Then on the pricing, they can do markup for you. Somebody is selling something for maybe 2 million naira. Agent will come to tell you that it's 3 million. See, he had his own markup. Then everything boils down from you not having adequate information of what you are going into. If you could have consultants, real estate consultants, you go to property lawyer, you go to estate valuers, they will expose you directly to the firms that is selling, because the brand that is selling to you have something to lose. An agent doesn't have anything to lose because he's not building any company.
And but we've had instances also where even the firms themselves have become an instrument of fraud, even within the Federal Capital Territory.
Yes, it boils down to also the first one I started with, adequate information. A firm that will defraud you, there are documentations they must have. Like now, one of the criteria for you to be a recognized real estate firm, number one, you have to be registered with CSE to be recognized as a corporate entity. Then secondly, you must be registered with a school mall of EFCC to show that you are against anti-laundry or anti-laundry, that you are against it. Yeah. Then thirdly, you have to register with REDAN, Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria. You understand? So the reason for all this registration is that if the company defraud you, authorities have the details of the directors in the company. They can easily come after them, because every corporate entity, someone registered this corporate entity, someone guaranteed them. Even if the corporate entity is a brand on its own, there is somebody that guaranteed. That's why those people register for it. This person said, I have 50% share, Kaza 20, this thing. Those are the stake you are placing on behalf of that company. And this company is registered with authority that you know EFCC, you know REDAN, you know their office everywhere. So now, if you go there, you will have the knowledge to request for all these documents from this company, and they don't have. Already you want to swim in an ocean. But if they have, give me photocopy. It's not something they can use to take away their company from them. You do your search. Go to CSE. Are this company truly registered? Yes. Go to EFCC. Does this company really have this Kumo certificate? Yes. Go to REDAN. Is this company really registered with you? Yes. Then come to the property itself. I said about documentation. This house they want to sell. Number one, did they have the authority to sell it?
But even engineer, sorry to interfere and to interject you at this point, but let's even look at this. Some of these things that you just mentioned. You just mentioned REDAN. You mentioned the EFCC. But I know one way or the other in REDAN organogram, in their structures of regulating real estate, especially within the Federal Capital Territory, there is a way the agents are factored into it. I don't know if I'm correct. Or the agents are not factored into REDAN's organogram. Are the agents not registered under REDAN also?
They're supposed to be registered. As I said even you now, if you are looking for a house, the agent that will look for a house for you will not even ask, are you registered?
The one I'm asking is, if the agents are registered
yes.
under REDAN, yes. or they are part of the organogram of REDAN, how come we are not having the conversation of sanctions and other disciplinary measures meted on the agents that are defrauding people, especially within the Federal Capital Territory?
Thank you very much. Let me use my profession as example.
All right.
As a registered engineer, I am being guided by the code and ethics of engineering practices in this country. So if I misbehave now with my registration number, I can easily be dealt with by the council. Now, you deal with an agent. You are dealing with an agent that number one is registered. You don't even ask him. What is the AG? If you ever don't deal with an AGM before, what is his return registration number? What is his return certificate number? You don't know because you don't ask. Then when a person defraud you, you don't even know who to meet. And I know that every cases that comes to return table are being addressed. People, majorly companies that register with return, they can't mess up because once you report to return again is return is a partner to EFCC, they are partner to ICPC, they are partners to Nigerian police, they are partner with every security agencies. So they will use these machineries to fight with you, to fight for you. So if you are the capital is that if you are dealing with an agent, help me look for house to buy, help me look for house to rent. First question, I have created the awareness for you now. Are you registered with RIDAN? Which governing body of real estate or property are you registered with? Why it's very important is that if the person defraud you, you will know where to look for the person. But in cases where most 90% of the agents people expose themselves with in FCT are agents that are registered. The ones that are registered that knows that they are being guided by ethics and principle, they will not try.
But Engineer Unisa, shouldn't this conversation be that if anybody get defrauded by an agent out there, RIDAN should be sanctioned? Then the RIDAN should now begin to be saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that every agent that is discharging it, whether his duty legally or illegally, they should at least be registered, because we've never seen those sanctions happen in the Federal Capital Territory. Should we not at this point be having conversation around sanctioning RIDAN instead?
Do you know the conversation we're supposed to have? Not
Okay.
about sanctioning RIDAN. The major conversation we need to have is creating awareness.
Which is the function of RIDAN.
Which is the function.
If RIDAN is not creating that awareness,
Well,
it is the irregularity of RIDAN, and we should be sanctioning RIDAN because it's a regulatory body.
Okay. No, they are not regulated. They are an association.
Okay, association that
The
regulates.
association mandated to regulate.
So they are regulatory body.
To the regulatory body. So now what I say, they are creating enough awareness on their own. They have RIDAN has a website. They have social media handles that you go there. They post awareness.
What about sensitization? What about orientation
Yes.
programs? How often do they
Yes.
do this? How many local
Constantly.
governments have? Okay.
Yes, an organization that launched YouTube TV for sensitization, they come with programs for sensitization. So this there. The problem is that the awareness, all of us need to key in and make this awareness so that everybody will know. If you go on the street program, I'm challenging you. Ask people how did you get your house? The agent what is the name of your agent? Is he registered? You will be hearing yes, no, I don't know. Yes, no, I don't know. You understand? What I want is that we cannot say we should be sanctioning RIDAN. You can't sanction
Just to be alive to our responsibility.
Can you sanction Korean because of my irregularities?
Perhaps.
No. What you will do is that you report me to Korean. Then Korean will sanction me. If you report me to Korean, this conversation could be interesting. Like you say that I have reported this man to this body. It is a registered body. A messenger member. I reported him to them. They did not do anything. We will have another different conversation on its own. But in this case now, nobody is making reports. You interact or transact with an illegal person, and you fall a victim of it. So you would own up to the responsibility and go the right way. As I said earlier.
Engineer Unisa, let's be practical. Let's come to practical. Look at it in the Federal Capital Territory as it stands right now.
Yeah.
How many signposts of RIDAN do we see? How many notices of RIDAN do we see? How many presidents of the Federal Capital Territory are aware that there's even a RIDAN anywhere? Now, if the organization is called association, as you said, is collecting money from members, and just because you are opportune to be a member of that association, that's why you know so much about them. Go to this. I challenge you to go to the street and speak to people on the street and find out how much they know about RIDAN. You will discover that it is almost an elusive organization. Wait, some person might just be hearing it for the first time. There's an organization called RIDAN. But so what I'm saying is, at this point, shouldn't we be talking again? I'm asking for the second time. Shouldn't we be talking about RIDAN coming out with more pragmatic trainings, symposiums at grassroots? Because people that have been defrauded are not people, and mostly not people from the top, are not people on the peak of the profession, although they get defrauded most times. But then people at the grassroots, people at the local level, local government, you get there, you see people cry that an agent that they did not know disappeared with their money. And do we have RIDANs in the community? Are they community based? Are their numbers available? Are there Dropbox or want to know that there's RIDAN organizations somewhere? These are the kind of conversation I want to have, because I know that you have been at the forefront of the real estate sector, and this is like a dent to the good image that people like you have tried to build in this sector.
Okay, I will still come back to where we started from. As I said from inception, you see, knowledge is very important in whatever business you want to do. Secondly, knowledge is very important to our own existence. One of the primary needs of everybody, you and I, is what? Is shelter, is housing. Then this housing, you don't know how it is being acquired. You don't know the ID card you need to have a house. Then if you go to social media now, everybody, one or two, are interested in real estate. This is either you are interested in real estate to build an investment, you are interested in real estate to own your personal housing, or maybe for commercial purpose. Then how many real estate conferences have we all attended? This is the most important question. How many real estate workshops have we all attended? How many housing awareness program have we all attended? How many of us have ever visited Ministry of Housing to know this is my primary? It's just like oxygen. We will not know about oxygen, the right one to breathe, the one not to breathe. We all know that if carbon dioxide is diffusing this place, that we have to run because it will interfere with our fresh oxygen we are breathing. Then this is something that everybody needs to survive. We don't know, and we want to get benefit from all this. Then secondly, coming to RIDAN, as I said, RIDAN is Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria. It is an association, a governing body that guides all the real estate practitioners.
Yeah.
Now, do you know a landlord is supposed to be in that association? Because the moment you own a property and you
mean commercial landlords or all landlords?
Even almost all landlords are supposed to be member.
Okay.
Because it is a real estate product. It's also a housing product. Then how many of them are members of RIDAN? Then, as you said, how many of us even know that these people are being regulated? They have a union that if they do something to you, you're supposed to go to. How many people are buying houses from real estate companies that are registered with these regulatory bodies? As I have listed for you, I gave you just few most important. I said your CAC certification, your SCUMO certificate, and your RIDAN. And if you want to open an account, because as a company you need account to run your daily operation and activities, these are also the documents that will be required for you to register. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, if the financial sector is also trying to use to regulate by asking for most of these documents, then even the company you won't buy from, how do you know that the company is a registered real estate company?
Well, you know, a lot of questions.
So,
a lot of questions are begging for answers.
A lot of questions will come up in area of. So what I'm actually trying to say is that, yes, as I said earlier, it answers everything. It's an open market. That barrier to entry is low. Why? Because of awareness. So it is something that everybody need to, all housing playing bodies need to come and create. It's not just Redan alone. If you are opportune to know about the Africa International Housing Show,
Yeah.
that was concluded in July.
Yeah.
So that is international conference where that bring all the bodies that plays in housing sector together to discuss all these issues we are discussing here. So how many people attended? International housing. Is housing not part of your problem? Is housing not part of all our citizens' problem? How many people were there? These are a show that was publicized in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Housing, with all even financial institutions. Then entry, for you to enter, to go to that places, you can go free for you to have all this. No, people do not go. Even if you have to even pay money to protect you, people do not go. Then tomorrow, you come back. You don't even, the person you are dealing with, you don't even know the person. You will deal with the person you defrauded, then you start throwing an arrow. So all of us.
So bottom line, you say we should not sanction Redan.
Don't sanction Redan.
All right.
Redan we can encourage Redan to continue doing more in what they are doing.
All right. So just before I let you go, just on the final take, this housing cost in Abuja.
Yes.
As a professional, our advisors, how can we cut down on this cost of housing? It's choking people in Abuja, if you can allow me to use that word. How can we cut this down?
Okay, let me be blunt. It's choking people and it will still continue to choke.
Let it not continue.
So,
no, engineer, let it not continue to choke.
Do you know why it will continue to choke? How much are we buying cement last year? 3,000, 3,005. When the year wants to end, we celebrated our year by moving cement to 12,000 naira before government intervened. Then the cement now is dancing around 8,000, 7,500, 7,000. If we were complaining that housing was expensive in 2023, well, you are buying cement 3,000, 3,500. Then today you were complaining that it's expensive and you are buying cement 7,000, 8,000. Who will pay the remaining 3,000 naira? So the components, the component parts are not affordable. They are not cheap. So for housing to be cheap, all hands need to be on deck, from the government to even the community chief that owns the land, that will sell to you at exorbitant prices. So it was when we are ready to bring down the cost. When everybody is ready, all of us will be at the drawing board and draw a map of how we are going to bring this housing cost down. So I believe we are all not ready. It's just rhetorics.
Engineer, your words are not patent gift at all. This is not a patent gift to know that the prices are not going down anytime soon.
Yes.
Okay. Engineer Unisa, well, this is how far we can go today on the show at this point in time. And we have a lot of conversations that are begging for answers right now, but we don't have much time to be able to address them. But viewers at home, you can keep the conversations coming in on Signature Morning. Let us know what you think about the housing unit in where you are based in your locality. I would have loved to ask Engineer Yunusa about certain questions about the general housing purviews and orientations right now, even in the Federal Capital Territory, on what people, what should be the mindset of people right now geared towards agents, if people should start beating agents that defraud them, or engaging in mass lynching of agents, all of this. But we don't encourage violence in the show. So, but I don't know if you want to talk to us on that.
Yes. What I advise,
since Redan is not answerable to, they are not registered under Redan.
So what I advise everyone to do: you want to rent a house, you want to buy a house, ask thoughtful questions. Let the person show you ID card that authorizes him or her to buy, to sell property to you, or to rent property to you. Then if you want to go further, you can engage someone, professionals like property lawyers, estate valuers. They will help you, and you will not form victim of anything. I assure you, you are dealing with a professional because they have everything to lose. Just like me, an engineer, I have a lot of things to lose if I go otherwise.
To think that a landlord, you ask a landlord for ID card.
No, it's not the landlord you ask.
Because you said both the rentals and everybody.
Yes, when I said the letter, agents you look for house for you now.
Okay.
Then the why are you scared? So that the agents will not say I'm speaking for the landlord, they take your money and run away. And most landlords now, most of them have lawyers. Yes, so these are you just ask questions.
Engineer Yunusa, you know why I don't want to take this conversation further? Because I wanted to talk about landlords that are becoming agents and agents that are becoming landlords. You know, that's like the normal trajectory now in Abuja. Nearly all landlords are now agents, and nearly all agents are now landlords. So all landlords should be going with ID cards to a form of identification.
If a landlord, if you happen, why do you need an agent, a broker? A broker is someone that facilitates something between you and another person. The person is facilitating transaction between you and the what? And the landlord, because you don't know the landlord. But when you are opportune to meet the landlord, your business is there just for you to know that this landlord is the owner of this house. Once the landlord is the owner of the house, your mind is settled. Then negotiate price, and even the agent will tell you the price. No, this price is fixed. But if you happen to meet the landlord, you can negotiate your price.
That's coming from an authority in the field of housing, and it's telling you can negotiate price authoritatively. Open, I want to get my own house, I'll come to Engineer Yunusa, and of course we can start the negotiation from there. But I want to say thank you so much for being a part of Signature Morning today, Engineer Yunusa.
Thank you very much for having us and for this wonderful conversation.
All right. It has been a long conversation coming, and I'm so happy that you are here to give us perspective and give us the right perspective on this issue. Well, viewers home, just keep the conversation coming in on your various experience with different housing agents and the cost of housing in your locality. Let's do a comparative analysis with you on our various social media handle right now. You can keep the conversation coming. Let's know what you think. Let's know how much you pay for rent in wherever you're based, and what you think the government can do in addition to what Engineer Yunusa has just said. We can help also drop our one token to the government in order to help push Nigerian forward, because Nigerian belongs to every one of us, and it's going to be a collective responsibility, and not just a collective responsibility. It is going to be more of a more proactive ness of our nature to support the government in whatever modalities that we can, and this together we can do, and we can achieve a greater nation for ourselves. I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show, and from all of us here in the studio, we say do enjoy the rest of your day. It's bye for now.